you both.
Hi, AJ. Same here. I missed you when you were in New Zealand.
I know, and I missed you too. It's nice to see you guys anyway.
Same. Hopefully, we get to come to the Sydney office soon.
Yeah, I'd love that. Sorry, Susie.
That's okay. All good. All right. Now let's start by this is the learning management system. We'll start by looking through these items in the navigation bar: the home, dashboard, my courses, and site administration. So the home page is the front page of the site. On this home page, we have a course search box, the list of available courses. Further down, we can post site announcements, and this can be figured how you like, but we'll come back to how to update the settings there. In the dashboard, this is made up of different contents, which we call blocks. And here we have a timeline, recently accessed courses, and a calendar. So the calendar can be handy if you want to add a new event for a webinar. You can easily do that and add that to the calendar. Same like home, we can configure this how we want to as well by adding blocks, different blocks. But we'll go through that a bit later as well. Moving on to the next tab, My Courses has its own dedicated tab to show all the courses that the user is enrolled in. And then lastly, we have site administration. So site administration is the back end of the learning management system and is where we control the background settings for the site to keep it running well. I'll just point out a few of the settings here. In location, here you can set the default time zone, and you can also allow users to choose their time zone. So this is helpful if you have people interstate and overseas, which I understand you do. Then if we look at language settings, Moodle is built on what we call the language pack and uses language strings. So for example, the menu items, home, dashboard, my courses, etc. are language strings, and they can be changed if you really need to. You might change dashboard to my learning, and that's controlled by the language pack. So that can be a little tricky to update. So feel free to reach out to our support team for assistance on that. In notification settings, this is where we determine where people can get notifications. So web gives you an alert in the notification center, which is this little bell up top here. Email means you can get an email notification, and mobile means it comes through the mobile app. So as an example here, assignment notifications have been enabled by email only. And currently, so only going to the user's email. There is the option to lock a setting, which means if enabled, users can't override this setting in their own profile. In site administration, we'll have a look at reports next. A couple of reports to point out. If you ever want to know what activity is happening in the site, you can either go to live logs or logs. So live logs provides basic information of key events of what's happening on the site right now, and logs is a bit more detailed. So you can see everything that's happened. If someone's made an unexpected change, you can go back and have a look at the log to see what's happened, and you can see the activity, the time, and the date, and who as well. Next, we'll have a look at server. So here in email, you can set your outgoing and incoming mail settings. Outgoing mail configuration, it's useful if you want to set outgoing, where has that gone? Oh, to divert emails if you're, say, testing in the sandbox. And so this prevents real users receiving any notifications while you're doing some testing. Go back up to environment. This tells us what version of Moodle we're on. So currently, we've just been upgraded to 4.1. And so that's helpful when you need to check system compatibility. Another useful setting is maintenance mode. So this is useful for when you're doing any major work, and we recommend putting a message in here, which will be displayed when OpenLMS are deploying any maintenance or upgrade packs. So that's also under site administration is where we look at the look and feel of the site and themes in particular. This controls the look and feel of the site. So in the appearance tab in site administration, you can see what themes are available under your site, under themes. So this under theme selector is where you select your theme. So currently, this has been set to OpenLMS work theme, and other themes that are available are the Boost and Classic theme. And you can get a snapshot of what they look like in these print screens. So now previously, you can also set a different theme for different devices, so desktop versus mobile. Historically, this was really important to get the best experience on a mobile device. However, these days, all themes are now built to be responsive across all devices. So it's not so much an issue anymore, and that's why we've just got the one theme selected here. If we did want to edit a theme, we would go to the theme name, so OLMS work in this instance. This will allow me to add theme presets, background images, logos, etc. And in advanced settings, there is the option to add CSS. CSS can be a great way of tailoring the look and feel of your site, although it can also require a lot of maintenance, especially when it comes to upgrade and ensuring all the CSS changes carry across and still look right. So this is best managed by someone with in-depth CSS knowledge. But if you do need assistance on this, our professional services team can do a brand match service if you don't have any CSS expertise available in-house. So now let's go back to home to see how that can be configured. So under settings, you've got the option, you can add a welcome message in this site home summary. And down here, you can actually choose what a user can see when they're not logged in versus when they are logged in. So that's why we have here, when a user is logged in, we've got the course search box, list of courses, and announcements. There's also options to add other items here as well. So then if we go back to home, we can see that's what is available on the site home. Then in dashboard, there's a bit more we can do here. As I said, this is where we can add what we call blocks, and blocks are a great way to edit the appearance and functionality of a site. You can add blocks that just appear on a course or just on the dashboard or on every page of the site. So common ways of using blocks are adding images and texts. You might even want to advertise events or sponsors of events through blocks. So let's add a block so you can see how that is done. So up the top here, we have, to make any changes to the site, we always have to have the edit mode toggle on. So currently we're not in edit mode, but once we click this toggle, we're now in edit mode. And you can see now that there's all these cog settings, there's these crosshairs, and then we've got the add a block button here. So we can configure the page here, but see this arrow here? We have what we called a block straw. So we can add blocks on the right column as well. But we'll just add a block here just to show you. So you can see here, there's quite a few different blocks available. Today, I'm just going to show you the text block, which is quite common for just adding any content. So the block usually appears at the bottom, but then using these crosshairs, crossbars, we can actually move it to where we want. We can move it above this calendar. There it is. And then going to this cog here, configure block, we can then update the settings. We can give it a title if we like. This is where we add the content. Just going to add some text here, promoting APAC adoption and education webinars and training. Make it a URL. Copy that in there. Going to open in a new window because it's an external site. Create link here. Might actually add an image as well. Go, just going to copy paste my headshot there. So once we've got all our content added, we've got some other settings here. This will determine where this block is, where it will appear. And default weight actually controls the order of which the block appears on the page. So we'll just save that, see what it looks like. And there it is there. So yeah, have a go at playing around with all the different blocks to see what suits you best. The other thing I will point out, when a user first logs in to the site, we have the option to choose which page shows first. So that is set under site administration, appearance, and navigation. There we are. So currently there's, a few different settings here, but currently it's going to the dashboard first, but we can also change it to home or my courses or user preference there. Oh, all right. I might just stop and see if there are any questions at the moment.
Not from me, Susie, thank you.
Excellent. All right, that's good. Hopefully it's all making sense so far. All right, now we are going to look at user management. So under site administration, we have a tab for users. We'll start by, if we want to add a new user, we can just go to add a new user under here. This is fine for creating 1 or 2 users, one by one. The minimum details that you need are just a username, a first name, last name, and email address. That's all you need to just create a user in the system. But this can be time consuming if you are wanting to create, more than 5 users. So then we also have the option to create users in bulk. So that's in upload users. And that's done by a CSV template, done by a CSV upload. And we actually have a template here of what you need, the details that you need to create a new user. And when you create a new user, there's also the option to bulk create the new user, also enroll them into a course also. So once users are all created, you might need to look up a user, and that's done in Browse List of Users. Here we have a whole list of users. We've got a simple search function. I'll just look for myself here. And there I am. Then we could have just click into a user profile. It usually lists all the courses that you're enrolled into. When you've last logged into the event, I'm currently logged in as an admin user rather than my Susie.chan. So that's why there's no data in here at the moment. Ooh. The next thing we'll look at is custom profile fields. So if Moodle hasn't got the profile, a particular profile field that you actually need to collect data on, you can actually create a custom profile field. So that's done in users again. And back in here. And user profile fields, here we are. So for example, you might want to add something like staff ID or staff business area. So to do that, yeah, we would create a custom profile field. There's the option to build categories as well. So if you have multiple custom fields, but we're just going to create one individual one at this moment. And there's different formats of the custom fields that are available. So checkbox, this is when, yeah, user just checks a box, and that could be to say, you know, whether they are a member or they're not a member. You can also set date and time, which might be handy if you want to include the staff's start date at an organization. Drop-down menu provides the user with the list of options, which is what we'll demonstrate as well. There's also the option to have a text area for the admin to provide any additional info. But if you want to collect just information from the user, you can use text input. So this example, we're going to go with drop-down menu. And I thought I would, add a custom field for all your A2's different business areas as an example. So we just need to add a short name, which say business area. Add a name. You can add a description for the field. And then we have all these other settings. So we can say whether this is a required field, yes or no, whether we want it locked or not, but generally we keep that no because we may need to go back and change the data, whether the data should be unique. So whether, so using the staff ID example, generally that data would be unique. Generally, we would have it at a display on the sign up page. So then you can collect the data from the user directly. And whether you want to make this data visible, but there's also to everyone, but you can also make it visible to just the user, teachers and admins as well. So here is where we put in the actual business area options. So I think I've got that listed here. Yeah. So I've just included all of these just as an example. And then you can also add the default value, which would most likely be the more common one. So if we save that, so that custom profile field has been created. So then if we jump back into users, add a user, scroll down to the bottom here, other fields, that now appears as an option. So yeah, hopefully that's something that would be handy for your business. Next up, we are going to look at enrollment. So how to add a student to a course, a student or a teacher to a course. So Moodle has a few different standard enrollment options. So there's guest and self-enrollment and just manual enrollment. So I'm just going to jump into one of our courses, demo courses that we have set up. So you can see that. So to go to enrollments, to enroll a student, we would go up the top here to participants. See here, this is everyone that's already enrolled into the course, but you can add a new user one by one here. You start typing the user's name. So you do have to have a user profile created to be able to enroll someone in a course. So if you can't find them, that just means that a user profile hasn't been created as yet. So I found myself here. If we've got cohorts set up, we can add them to a cohort, which we will go through a bit later. And we can assign a role, either student, manager, teacher, non-editing teacher, tenant manager. So we'll add them as a student at this point. And then we also have the option to set enrollment times as well. I'm just going to add myself to the course. And there. Sorry, I'm just going to mute myself for a second. Sorry about that. Now, the other options we have under enrollment methods. So by default, manual enrollment is set. And you can see here, there's guest and student enrollment, but they've currently been hidden because for this course, we want to be able to control who's enrolled in the course. But if that's not so important to you and you would rather just send a link out to whole users to enroll themselves, you can allow self or guest enrollment as well. Something else that's important to note is enrollment duration is managed here as well. So if we go to settings, the cog setting, this is where we can set the enrollment duration. So we enable that and you can say how many days. And this is handy for if you do want to end access for students, but you want to keep the enrollment data there as well. Ooh, right. Now, something you may want to do to save you time is bulk user action. So there's a few different things you can do under bulk user action. So if we go back into site administration, users, bulk user actions. So you can place a filter. Currently, based on my last search, it's filtered myself, but there is a whole heap of other filters you can set. Let's clear that. Based on name and other profile fields to select the filtered users. So then all the users will pop up. You would move them to this section here. And then there are a range of bulk user actions. So you might want to send them a message to give them an update. You may want to download a list of users that you can do that, and you can download a CSV list. You might need to force a password change. So that's handy if you, and it will save you time if you can do that in bulk. Moving on to permissions. So this is where we allocate the site administrator. Permissions. Site administrators. So you can have one main site administrator and you can have other site admins as well. But site admin access gives you access to absolutely everything. So that there's a little bit of risk to an organization there. So it's safer just to have a handful of people at most with site admin access. We recommend, I mean, depending on the size of your organization, no more than just 4 or 5. And then in define roles, we have all the different system roles in Moodle. So there's a whole range of roles here. Roles such as student and teacher are course specific. So those roles will only apply to the course that they have been enrolled into. As a user, you could be a student in one course or a teacher or a manager in another course. However, the site administrator role is site level or system wide, so it will follow you everywhere throughout the site, even if you are enrolled as a student or teacher in a course. And if any of these roles don't suit what you need, you can create a new role. We recommend contacting our support team if you do need to create a new role, as there are many, many permutations for permissions. So it can be a little complex to manage there. Another useful feature is the ability to switch roles. So say I'm currently logged in as a site administrator now, and if I want to see what the system looks like, say as a student, I can switch the role. So I can do that by going up to my profile up here. So drop down, switch role to. And yeah, you can choose which role you want to switch role, but don't want to do that now, but just wanted to point that out. Another way you can view what a user is doing as the site administrator, you can actually log in as another person. So for example, if we go back to users, browse list of users, search for myself again. Click in. So down here under administration, log in as, and that will allow you to log in as that person. So that's handy if you're a site administrator and one of your users is just having a trouble with something or an issue with something. You can log in as their profile to see what the problem might be. So yeah, that's handy to know about. So the last thing I want to show you for user management is cohorts. I understand that you want to be able to prevent certain users from accessing courses. So a way to do that is by setting cohorts. So that's generally just different groups within the site. So if we go back to users and cohorts, that's one I created before, but we'll create another one. Under add new cohort, we give it a name. So the context, whether it's system-wide or you can have it apply to another context. You can add a cohort ID, which is important when you want to bulk enroll, add people to a cohort. When you upload a CSV, this will be the field that's required. Yeah, so you can make it visible or not visible. You can also add a description. So save changes there. So that's the cohort created there. Now to add people to the cohort, we would click in assign people. So here we would search and then add them. So then I've been added to this cohort. Now to add this cohort to a course, we go back to enrollment methods as we saw before. So we'll go back into our stress management course in participants, enrollment methods, and we can add another method, which is cohort sync. And this is where we choose the cohort that we've just created, A2 milk, add method. So now that this course is attached to this cohort, whenever you create a new user and they've been added to the cohort, they will be automatically enrolled into this course. So then that's how you would prevent users accessing certain courses. But even, I mean, as simply as if you don't enroll someone in a course, they can't access that course. So yeah, so just see how you want to manage that. But I'll just stop again to see if there's any questions.
Maybe just one from me. So I was given access to the pre-production site. Susie, I just want to know when the team would be able to, if the team would actually be able to, play around with the site while we are on the training.
Ooh, I'm not 100% sure on that one. That would probably be a hard question, or unless Wayne, do you know? When you're on mute.
Sorry, I had to try to find the mute button. With that one, so if you've been given access, there shouldn't be an issue with other staff members getting access to the site, but it will just be, I think, a matter of creating those accounts in the system to do that.
Oh, so Katina, go ahead and do that. So you've got access to the
site.
Oh, excellent. All
right.
So
if you've got admin access to the site, I think you should do. Then you can just create the accounts that need to have access to the site, and add the administration permission or the role in there, and then they should be able to go in there and complete testing.
Not quite sure how I can do that because I don't know if I have admin access, but I sent a bunch of questions to Fahd because I wasn't sure what I'm expected to do with the site.
Yeah, so the way to test if you've got or to check if you've got admin, if you see that site admin option at the top there, that
Yeah.
will be a good indicator if you've got
Yeah.
it or not.
Yeah, exactly. And then as we kind of went through before, if you're the main, it's most likely that you would be, I would say, the site administrator, the main administrator. And if you want to give your colleagues site admin access as well, this is how you would do it. You would, once you've created a user profile for them, search for them here and then add them.
Okay. It does ask me things like authentication method and stuff. Okay, I'll figure it out. And if I have any questions, I'll reach out to you guys.
Yeah, sounds
Yep,
good.
I'll see if I can add them.
Cool. All right. Any other questions? Is it all making sense so far? Am I going at an okay pace?
All good, Susie.
Oh, excellent. That's good. All right. Well, that's covered. Look at the agenda. Yep, we've covered, we're doing really well. We've covered all of this. And let's have a break and we'll come back at in 5 minutes. So I'm on Melbourne time, so that's 10:55. And then we'll look at course creation.
Sounds good.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Okay, just checking if everyone's back.
I'm here.
Thanks, Tina. Even if you want to give me one of those thumbs up reactions.
I'm here too.
Thanks, Alyssa. Excellent. Wayne, yep, nice. Just check that AJ and Petrina and Pratik are back.
So
Cool.
AJ, I'm not sure how long she'll be on the training for. She needs to go to one of our different sites. So
Okay, no worries. I'll get started again. Cool. All right, moving on to course creation. Back into our sites. So site administration. We're now looking at the courses tab. And in manage courses and categories is where we can view and manage and create all our courses and categories. Now, there's a number of ways you can categorize your courses. You can categorize by year, business area, subject matter, whichever suits your organization. So it's probably worth just having a quick chat internally with all your stakeholders, how best to organize your courses. So because you want to keep the structure nice and clean. So, and also we do recommend if creating a hidden archive course category. So then once a course is no longer in use, but obviously you still want to keep the content of it, you can put it into archive if it's no longer in use. So yeah, this is where you can see an overview of all the courses. Under back into courses. Oh, I'll just let someone in. Oh, so I was just about to show you course default settings. So this is just the default settings that we can set once the course is created. But then once the course is created, we can then update it in the course level, at the course level. So we can have it visible or we can hide it. So generally you might hide it once it's first created because it's still in development, and then you might change it to unhidden. We can enable download course content. So if IP, protecting IP is important to you, you can make sure that students can't download the course content. We can have a default course format here. We can set the number of sections, the layout, but with most of these settings, they can then be changed at the course level. This is just to have the settings for when a course is first created. Now to add a new course, go back into courses and add a new course. Here we specify the course name. Let's go with A2 training. We give it a short name, which is all one word. This again is also used when we upload users and enroll them into a course. This is the field that they would need. We can allocate it to a category. We can have it, shown or unshown. We can specify the start date and end date. We could add an ID number, description, have an image there as well. Course formats. So there's a few options here. Topics format, as you'll see shortly, is quite common. as well as the tiles if you want kind of blocks, if you want students to navigate through a course via blocks. And then we have all these other settings, appearance, file and uploads, where you can specify how large a file can be uploaded to the course. You can allow for completion tracking, which we'll look at completion tracking reports later. And we can set groups up within the course. If you need to change the names of the roles within the course, you can do so here. So if you wanted to change student to, say, learner, that could be done here. Generally, we leave that as the default. And then tags. Tags can be added as a way to connect other bits of content in other courses together. Once we've got all our settings selected, we save and display. And here we have what we call like a shell of the course. So we've got, this is the topics format. So it's just broken down into sections. You can add more sections or remove them. Now, let's have a look at adding an activity and or resources. And that's where, the real content creation is done. So we already have editing turned on, but I'll just show you the difference between this is not in edit mode and then this is edit mode. So when edit mode is on, we have the option to add an activity or resource. So we'll select that, and then we have, we refer to this menu as the activity chooser. You can see here there's many different activities and resources. We won't go through all of them today, as we'll probably be here all week, but I will show you a couple of the more common ones. So, and these are broken up into, so this is all the activities and resources, and then they've been filtered by activities or resources. But you can also create your own favorites tab by selecting the star icon, and then you're given this star tab for the ones that you use all the time, which would be handy. So today I'm going to show you this text and media area resource. This is similar to that text block that I showed you earlier, in that, you can add text, images, videos, and URLs. Again, I'll just add some content here. Like that. There's my content there. And then we've got a whole heap of settings here, which we'll go through. Common module settings. And this is where we can choose whether to show it on the course page or have it hidden. We can also restrict access. So based on different conditions, so it could be, we can set it from a certain date, or a student needs to have a certain grade before they can access it, or it could be based on a profile or some other restriction setting there. Activity completion is what tells Moodle a student has done what they need to do for it to be considered complete. So for this, we can have the learners manually mark it as complete. But in some other activities, say like an assignment or a quiz, there'd be an additional option to a student must receive a grade or a passing grade. Because this is just content, we just have these two options. Again, we've got the tag option and then competencies. If you do have competencies set up, this allows you to link this activity or resource to a course competency as well. So just save that, see what it looks like. Got it there. Yeah, just some simple content there. So next up, sorry, I'm just going to take. All right, I'm back. So next up, we're going to go through adding a SCORM package, which I understand is what you'll be doing with the new site. So when we upload a SCORM package, there's a couple of different course format settings available. So if we go back to our settings here in course format. So if you're only adding a single SCORM package to a course, we would use the single activity format. But if you are adding multiple SCORM packages to a course, you would use the topics format, which I will show you both. So we're going to change this format to single activity format. And once we hit save and display, we're then prompted to add a new, add the SCORM package. So you can give it a name, add a description, and then you upload the SCORM package. So you can either upload it from here, select the file, or I always like being able to drag and drop a SCORM package, which generally comes in a zip file. All right, that's taking a little bit to upload. There it goes. There we have the file uploaded. And then again, we have lots of settings. You can always, go through these settings, but generally, the default settings are, are fine to use if you don't need to change anything. So under appearance, we've got the option to display the package in the current window or pop out into a new window. We can display course structure on entry page. So this displays the content of the SCORM. Once you click into a course, you can have that as yes or no. You can also display the attempt status on either the dashboard and or entry page. Availability, you can set when the SCORM package is available from. Grade, you can set the grading method, either highest grade, average grade, some grade, or by learning objects. And you can also set what the maximum grade is. I think that is 100. With attempts, you can set whether it's unlimited or you can set the actual number of attempts. You can set the attempts grading, whether it's the highest, average, first or last attempt. And force new attempts. If you want that, if you set that to yes, it just means whenever a learner goes into a SCORM package, they it looks at it as a new attempt. And under lock, if you want to lock after the final attempt, this just means after the final attempt is completed, the student is then locked out. Compatibility settings. So for force completed, if enabled, the course attempt will be marked as completed. Auto continue. If multiple learning objects have been set up, they are automatically launched after the previous learning object has been completed. Auto commit, if that's been enabled, the SCORM data is automatically saved to the database. Mastery score override status, if this is enabled and a mastery score is provided, any SCORM status will be overridden. Then, like we saw when we created the text and media area, we've got the same common module settings, restrict access, activity completion, tags, and competencies. Oh, let's save that and we'll see what it looks like. Oh, so because it's single activity, we can see here that the course format is changed slightly. So we've got all the course settings in this drop-down menu, same with the activity. So if we have a preview of this SCORM package, I believe this SCORM package, I borrowed it from our content team who I understand, I think we might have done a proposal for you last year. So this is the content that was made. So that was quite handy for this training. So yeah, you can see here that the SCORM, that's how you add a single SCORM package. Now, if we then have a course that has multiple SCORM packages, we then go back and just make sure we use the topics format. Save and display. So now that SCORM package that we just set up is still saved here. But the way to add multiple SCORM packages is through add an activity or resource. And as I started earlier, SCORM package, just like we added this text and media activity, we can add this SCORM package. And then the settings are just the same again. So we'd add a SCORM package like we did before. Let me add that. Save and display. Yeah. So you can see here, this was the first one we added. And then the second one. Ooh. Any questions on the SCORM packages?
Not at this time, Susie. Thank you.
Great, thanks, AJ. We'll keep moving on. Now we're going to look at activity and course completion reports. So if I go to, I'm going to go back into one of our demo courses, actually, nope, my courses. So, and under reports, we've got the activity completion and course completion reports available. They're a good way of just tracking student progress. So if we look at the activity completion report, it lists all the students and then all the activities. So when a student does submit an activity, these boxes will be checked with a tick. If they submit it after a due date, if you've set a due date, the box will be red. And if you actually hover over the box, you can actually see the time and date that they have submitted the assessment. A perforated box means that there is a grade, or no, there's completion criteria that is set to it. And then if it's solid box, it just means a student or a teacher can just manually tick that off as completed. So now if we look at a course completion report, similar to the activity completion report, we've got a list of students, we've got some activities here, and then we've got this column of course completion report. And in this instance, no one's completed a course just as yet. And we've only got a few activities in here. So I'm just going to go on mute again. Okay, so the reason why there's only a few items here is that relates back to the course completion setting. So in more course completion, this is where we set the conditions and criteria of what we want course completion to be. So on this occasion, we've just ticked the quiz and the feedback. You could also set things like a minimum grade that needs to be achieved to be for Moodle to consider this course complete. So then if we go back to the course completion report, we can see those two items reflected here. Again, similar to the activity completion report, once the item's completed, there would be a checkbox. If it was overdue, then it would be red. Perforated box means that there is criteria set to it as well. Another report that I'll just point out is the activity report. This just gives you a general overview of what's happening in the course, number of users, looking at different elements and when they were last viewed. And it can give you a good indication on what might be more popular content in the course as well. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to show you today is course reuse. So under the More menu, course reuse. So this is where we can import, backup, restore, and copy and reset courses. So this might be handy for you if you need to go into your previous learning management system that's obviously Moodle based, and take a backup of a course, and then you might want to then restore it into your new environment. So to give you an overview of each of the functionalities, import course means just to import and copy content from another course. So you might not want to copy an entire course, but you just want to copy, say, one activity. So you can just select that certain activity and then import it into your new course. Backup is to take a backup of the course. Restore is to upload and restore a course backup. And copy course is to clone a course. Reset is to reset a course without any user data. So I'll show you how to back up a course. Back up this course, this stress management course. In here, we can choose what items to back up. Generally, if we're trying to set up a new course, we would not include the enrolled users, but we do want to include all the other data in there. So we just keep moving through. Here you can unselect or select certain content to be included, but I do want everything, so I'm going to check all the boxes, keep all the boxes checked. Here, this will be the backup file name. And then we can perform the backup. And that's done. So then we're in the course backup area, and we can see this top one is the course backup that we've just created. Now we can download that and save it somewhere locally if we want to start an archive system, or we can restore. So we can, if it was, this backup's already saved here, but if we had another course backup, we could then just add it to this drag and drop here, or we can choose it from a file. So then to restore the course backup, you just go to restore. Again, it'll go through all the content. And then from here, we can choose which category to save the new course to. Continue. We're saying no to including enrollment methods. Here we can call it, rename it, short name. We can set the course start date, and here we can select the content or unselect the content we don't want to be restored. Next. And perform restore. So then, yeah, this is the stress management course restored. All right. That's everything that I was wanting to cover today. Is there any questions?
Not for me, Susie. A lot to take in. I don't think I have any questions yet.
I also don't have any questions yet. I think once I'm in the system and playing around, I may have some.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's just the best way to learn, just to go into the system and learn, trial and error yourself. But yeah, hopefully that was all relatively clear. I'll send the recording of this. I'll actually stop the recording now.
I've also reached out to see if he can set up